If you're in the trade world, you know the feeling, that daily grind of HS code classification. Honestly, it can be a super frustrating bottleneck that just slows everything down. Today, we're going to dive into how you can get those hours back, cut down your compliance risk, and, get this, turn a major headache into a real strategic win. So let me ask you, do any of these sound familiar? For a lot of you trade pros out there, I have a feeling this is going to hit a little too close to home. Let's walk through a few scenarios that can bring a busy day to a screeching halt. Okay, first up, the deadlock. You know this one. We've all been there. You've got the product, you've got all the specs, but you're just stuck between two, maybe even three different codes. An hour ticks by, and you're still there, second-guessing everything. It's a total black hole for your productivity. Then you've got the knowledge silo. This is when your whole process hinges on one single person, that office guru, or maybe your go-to customs broker. But what happens if they're swamped or on vacation? Well, everything just stops. That's a massive single point of failure that puts your whole operation at risk.
And yes, the FTA times suck. We've all felt this pain. Figuring out origin for free trade agreements means digging through tariff shift rules, and it can literally eat up your entire day. You're bouncing between correlation tables, different HS versions, all just to confirm one little component. It's absolutely critical work, but man, it is a huge drain on your time and energy.
So after hearing all that, you might be thinking, what's the fix? Well, it's not about working harder. It's about working smarter with a completely new kind of partner. Let me introduce you to what I think is a real game changer. Meet HSCF, which stands for HS Code Finder. But here's the thing, don't think of this as just another search tool. The key is to think of it like a digital trade consultant that's on call for you 24/7. It's designed to actually copy an expert's thought process, mixing powerful AI with really deep trade knowledge. Now, I know what some of you are probably thinking. AI, can I really trust it for something as important as compliance? And you know what? That is a totally valid question, which brings us to one of the most important things about HSCF, building trust through transparency. And this slide really nails the biggest fear people have about AI. Over on the left, you've got the black box problem. That's when an AI gives you an answer, but you have absolutely no clue how it got there. HSCF is the exact opposite. It's all about explainable AI. You don't just get a code, you get to see all the work, every single step of the way. And here's exactly how it builds that trust. The whole system is grounded in the official rules of the game. It's built on the current HS 2022 framework, and it actually cites the general rules of interpretation, the section and chapter notes, and even the WCO explanatory notes it used to make its decision. And get this, it even tells you why other similar codes weren't the right choice. So this isn't a guess. It's a documented, audit-ready rationale. Okay, so we've got a system we can trust. But what about the information we're feeding into it? Let's be real. Trade data is rarely neat and tidy. It's usually kind of messy, maybe incomplete. Any good tool has to be built for that reality. And that's exactly what HSCF is designed for. The process is so simple. Step 1, you just give it whatever you have. Seriously, a photo from your phone, a technical drawing, a spec sheet, or even just some plain text like rubber gasket for an electric car. Step 2, the AI gets to work, analyzing it just like a human expert would. And step 3, you get back high-probability HS codes with, you guessed it, all the logic behind them. I mean, just think about how efficient that is for a second. You can upload one single photo and boom, you get estimated HS codes from multiple countries like Japan, the US, and the EU all at once. And it even gives you confidence percentages for each. For teams managing compliance across different markets, that's a huge time saver. And speaking of different markets, that brings us right back to the tangled web of free trade agreements. This is where things can get really complicated, right? You're juggling different national subheadings, different HS versions. It's a lot. Remember that FTA time suck we talked about earlier? Well, this is how HSCF fixes it. It helps you nail down those national subheadings, the 7th digit and beyond, so you can figure out your tariff rates way earlier in the process. And for origin checks, it automatically uses correlation tables to find the exact right HS version for whatever agreement you're working with. It really is a lifesaver. Here's another really cool thing. HSCF doesn't just throw up its hands and guess when the information is a little vague. Nope. It acts like a real consultant and helps you zero in on the details you need to make the right call. So instead of leaving you stuck, it actually guides you. If your description is a bit too general, it'll come back with smart questions, like it might ask if the material is one specific type of rubber or another, or if a product is foamed or non-foamed. This helps you go back to your engineering teams with targeted questions and get the right info so much faster.
Now, with all this incredible technology, it's really important to remember one thing. This tool is here to support you, not to replace you. At the end of the day, the final decision is always yours. You are still the expert, and you are always in the driver's seat.
And this is where it becomes your best ally. I mean, imagine walking into a meeting with your customs brokers armed with this level of documented logic. Or think about defending your classification during a customs audit with a complete, rule-based rationale right at your fingertips. It also helps your entire team get on the same page for internal reviews.
And that's the real transformation here. What used to be this solitary headache, one person struggling alone with a tough classification, becomes a shared, transparent, and systematic process for your whole team. It's a move from pure frustration to real collaboration.
So what you're really doing is moving away from depending on one person's gut feeling or memory. Instead, you're building this unified, reliable knowledge base for your entire organization, powered by AI, but totally grounded in official regulations. You're building a smarter, more resilient compliance machine. So I'll just leave you with this final question to chew on. How much is guesswork costing your trade operations right now? In time, in risk, in headaches? Because the future of trade compliance isn't about guessing anymore. It's about having clarity.